Deep in the heart of the African continent, beyond the reach of most maps and tourist itineraries, lies the vast, ancient rainforest of the Congo Basin. Cloaked in tangled vines, towering trees, and near-constant twilight under a thick canopy, this is a place that feels as though it predates time, where every step echoes with mystery. Here, the forest floor is littered with secrets. For generations, scientists and explorers have looked on in awe, and sometimes horror, at what they uncovered. Monstrous roots twist like serpents into the earth, vines drape like curtains over ghost-quiet openings, and in the hush, one can almost hear the pulse of something older than human memory. This land, sprawling and wild, almost defies human intrusion. Remote even by rainforest standards, the wilderness seems to guard itself. And that sense of guarding isn't just poetic. Many of the discoveries coming out of here don't fit neatly into our categories of known nature. Strange creatures slipping unnoticed through the undergrowth. Phenomena that send shivers down the spine of the scientific world. They all seem to call this place home. In this chapter, we take our first step into that world. We're not just exploring a remote forest. We're entering a terrain where reality bends, where mystery swells in every shadow. The cane-thick tangles, echoes of unseen footsteps, and distant calls of animals unknown to most outside the forest. These are the hallmarks of the Congo's wild soul. And yet, even as explorers push deeper, even as camera traps and satellite scans attempt to map the unmappable, the forest keeps its secrets. It offers up just enough to intrigue, then pulls back the curtain. That tension is everything. Because in the flickering torchlight of this rainforest, the line between what we think we know and what we absolutely cannot explain grows thin. So take a breath, lean in. The journey begins now. They call it the Congo River, the deepest and most mysterious waterway on Earth. But to those who've stood on its banks, it's far more than that. It's a living, breathing force that swallows light, sound, and reason itself. It doesn't whisper like other rivers. It roars. Winding through 10 nations and over 2,900 miles, the Congo River is not just the second longest river in Africa. It's the deepest river on the planet, plunging to depths that remain unmeasured and unknown. Scientists estimate some parts descend beyond 750 feet, but even with sonar and mapping tech, no one's been able to confirm how deep the black waters truly go. Each second, over 35,000 cubic meters of water surge into the Atlantic Ocean, a force so immense that it could power nearly the entire sub-Saharan region. In fact, the Congo Basin holds almost 30% of Africa's entire hydroelectric potential. But this is no calm energy. It's raw, violent, unpredictable. Most rivers create calm, fertile deltas near their mouths. The Congo does the opposite. Near its final push to the sea, it barrels through a 120-kilometer gorge known as the Gates of Hell. The river narrows, speeds up, and dives downward. Rapids boil, whirlpools churn, and even the most seasoned navigators fear this part of the journey. It's here where the river seems to break the rules of nature. Its churning currents carve into the landscape, not gradually, but with violence. Not just shaping the earth, but controlling it. And yet, beneath the chaos, something stranger still is happening. In the lower Congo, biologists stumbled upon a natural phenomenon unlike anything seen before. Species of fish evolving in total isolation, separated not by mountains or oceans, but by the river's own currents. Some areas of the river are less than a mile wide, yet the water flows so fast and deep that fish on one side of the river are genetically distinct from those just a few hundred meters away. Evolution is unfolding, not over millennia, but right now. In the dark, turbulent waters, new life is being written. This isn't just a river, it's a boundary, a crucible, a keeper of secrets so old and so powerful, even time has learned to flow around them. The Pygmies, forgotten guardians of the forest. Deep in the heart of Central Africa, far from cities, roads, or even the buzz of electricity, there lives a people as old as the rainforest itself. They are called the Pygmies. To outsiders, they were once the stuff of myth, half-human forest dwellers with whispered reputations across 19th century Europe. Explorers described them as barely visible shadows among the trees, elusive and silent, with lives that seemed more legend than real. Some even claimed they were not quite human at all. But these were never monsters. They were protectors. They were survivors. Known to anthropologists today as the Mbenga, the Mbuti, and the Aka, the Pygmy peoples are among the oldest continuous human cultures on Earth. Their ancestors have lived in the Congolese rainforest for over 8,000 years, longer than any recorded civilization. Their height is the first thing many notice. Most adults stand just under 4 feet tall, but that is only the beginning of what sets them apart. With dark skin, tightly curled hair, and wide, alert eyes, they are perfectly adapted to the dense, dim underworld of the forest. Their bodies are light, their senses are sharp, and in a place where survival depends on listening before seeing, that matters. Pygmy children reach puberty by age 8. By the time they're 12, many have already become parents. Their lifespans rarely exceed 40 years. But within that short span, they learn skills honed over generations. How to track a monkey from a broken branch, how to tell which vine carries water, how to walk through a jungle without leaving a sound. Their homes? Simple dome-shaped huts made of sticks, banana leaves, and palm fronds, just big enough to crawl inside. These temporary shelters are arranged in a circle, forming a village no wider than a clearing. At the center is the hut of the elder or spiritual leader. Around it, the people live like family, each group a mobile world that moves with the forest. They never cut down trees. They never kill more than they need. To them, the rainforest is not a resource. It is a parent, sacred, protective, alive. They call it mother and father. Men hunt with poisoned arrows, tracking animals from miles away. Women gather, cook, and care for children, their faces painted with berry dyes and floral pastes passed down for centuries. Their traditions are unwritten, their songs are sacred, and their knowledge of plants and medicines surpasses what most modern scientists could guess. To this day, many Pygmies do not use numbers, cannot tell time, and have no written language. And yet, they know the forest like it's etched in their blood. Each bird call, each rustle of the leaves tells them who is near, friend, foe, or prey. They have outlived kingdoms, outlasted empires, but the modern world is closing in. Logging, mining, and war are pushing into their last strongholds. And still, they remain, moving like the wind, silent as shadow, forgotten by history books, erased from borders, but never gone. They are the true guardians of the forest, and the forest remembers. Zin, the lost diamond city of the Virunga. Imagine stumbling upon a forgotten city buried deep in the lush, volcanic wilderness of the Virunga Mountains, a place wrapped in mist, guarded by silence, and veiled in stories so strange they sound like fables whispered by firelight. Its name is Zin. Local legends say Zin once sparkled with unimaginable wealth, diamonds glittering just beneath the soil, so abundant they could be plucked by hand. Some claimed it was King Solomon himself who first discovered these riches and sent men to settle the region, building a stronghold to protect what he called the treasures of the earth. But Zin wasn't just a city of gold and gems, it became something more. Inside its thick, fortress-like walls, a bold experiment began. The city's inhabitants, keepers of forgotten knowledge, turned their efforts toward an ambitious goal: the breeding and protection of animals found nowhere else on Earth. Among them, the most sacred, the mountain gorilla. These great apes were not simply observed, they were protected, revered, and some claim even genetically altered. Whispers speak of a strange new hybrid, neither fully gorilla nor entirely human, creatures of extraordinary intelligence who served as the city's guardians, both physical and spiritual. But time, as always, had other plans. Zin eventually fell into silence. Whether by war, plague, or the weight of secrecy, the city emptied, its gates closed, and all that remained were rumors, echoes, and questions. By the late 19th century, European explorers, men like Henry Morton Stanley and Richard Francis Burton, were drawn to the region by tales of a lost city shimmering with riches and strange, evolved beings. None found it, or if they did, they never returned. Some modern researchers believe Zin was more than a city. They suggest it may have been the remnant of a civilization far older than history remembers, built by people with knowledge of metals no longer found, of architecture beyond explanation, structures of unknown alloy, immune to corrosion and time. Of course, skeptics say it's all fantasy, but then again, so did they once about Troy. And the jungle, as always, keeps its secrets, hidden beneath vines, stone, and the weight of centuries. The Guardians of Zin, human-ape hybrids of the lost city. In the shadows of the Virunga Mountains, where jungle heat meets volcanic mist, whispers still speak of a forgotten city, and of the beings left behind to guard it. They were not spirits. They were not myths. They were real, and they were powerful. Known only in legend as the Guardians of Zin, these beings were said to be hybrids, engineered through secret rituals and ancient knowledge that blurred the line between species. Part human, part great ape, they were designed with one purpose: to protect the secrets of Zin at all costs. They stood upright like men, but their limbs were longer, stronger, built for both speed and force. They could climb faster than any human and strike harder than any warrior. Their eyes held the focus of a soldier, the depth of a thinker. But most unsettling of all, they were intelligent, fully, not merely trained, not mimics. They could reason. They could build traps, coordinate in silence, use weapons fashioned from stone, bone, or even discarded metal. Witnesses describe seeing them wielding spears, swinging clubs, and, according to one post-colonial account, disassembling a hunter's rifle piece by piece, and then vanishing into the trees. They weren't just beasts, they were tacticians. They moved in coordinated units, often appearing only long enough to intimidate intruders before melting into the undergrowth. No one had ever seen them sleep. No one had ever captured one. In one faded journal from 1908, a Belgian soldier wrote, "They watch us from the tree line. They test us. 1 minute, nothing. The next, stones rain from above. The path is gone, and my men are running." Locals believe they still exist, scattered, hidden, but vigilant. They call them Nkoyi Batala, the Shadow Watchers. According to oral history, they were created not only to protect treasure, but to ensure that the knowledge of Zin's origins would never fall into unworthy hands. Perhaps they were born of alchemy, perhaps of science that today we would call genetic engineering. Or perhaps they are simply the forgotten cousins of our own evolution, an ancient branch that never died out because Zin made sure they didn't. They don't need walls. They don't use words. But if you ever enter what remains of Zin, you won't hear them coming. Dingo Neck, the river monster with saber-teeth Africa, has always had its myths. Beasts whispered about in firelight, creatures that vanish when the sun rises. But what if one of those legends wasn't a myth at all? They call it the Dingo Neck. It was 1907 when explorer John Alfred Jordan claimed he saw it while paddling along the murky waters of Kenya's Mara River. His boat had just rounded a bend when the surface exploded. Something enormous lunged toward them from the riverbank. Instinctively, he fired a shot. Whatever it was, it bolted into the underbrush, leaving only ripples and a shaken crew. Jordan described it as over 13 feet long, with the body of a reptile, the head of a leopard, and two enormous saber-like fangs curving down from its upper jaw. Its hide, covered in armor-like scales, sharp as blades. This was no crocodile. No hippo, no animal known to science. He wasn't alone. Another big game hunter, Edgar Peter Bronson, claimed to have seen the same creature years later. He called it a jungle walrus. But even he struggled to find words for what he'd witnessed. It had the posture of a predator, the movement of a lizard, and eyes that watched. The dingo neck is often categorized by cryptozoologists as a semi-aquatic predator, lurking near riverbanks, feeding on fish, or whatever else dares to come too close. Locals speak of it in hushed tones, describing terrifying encounters passed down from generation to generation. Some say it's the last of its kind. Others believe it's something entirely unknown. Modern scientists dismiss it, of course, blaming exaggeration, mistaken identity, or colonial fantasy. But here's the thing. The Congo Basin alone is home to hundreds of species still unclassified. Vast stretches of its rivers have never been fully explored. In places where sunlight barely filters through the canopy and sonar can't penetrate the depth, who's to say what lurks below? Maybe the dingo neck is real. Maybe it's a ghost from Earth's ancient past, still prowling rivers that time forgot. But one thing's certain, when a seasoned explorer, armed and experienced, fires in fear at something he cannot name, it leaves a mark not just in his memory, but in the shadowy ledger of the unknown. Kongomato, the winged predator of the swamps. Somewhere in the shadowy wetlands of Central Africa, where fog clings to the water like breath and the trees grow thick with silence, there's a legend that refuses to die. They call it Kongomato, the boat flipper. To the local tribes of Zambia, Angola, and the Congo borderlands, Kongomato is not folklore, it's warning, it's real. Described as a giant flying reptile with a leathery wingspan of up to 7 feet, no feathers, and a beak lined with razor-sharp teeth, Kongomato resembles the long-extinct pterosaurs of the Mesozoic era. But for the people who claim to have seen it, there's nothing extinct about it. In 1923, explorer Frank Mellon was documenting the beliefs of the Konde people in northern Zambia. He was shown ritual drawings of the creature, long wings, pointed crest, hooked jaws, and when he presented a picture of a prehistoric pterosaur from a book, the villagers gasped. "That's it," they whispered. "That's the one that lives in the swamps." 2 years later, engineer J.P.F. Brown saw something massive flying low over the trees near Lake Bangweulu. He wasn't alone. His local guides refused to go further. And then there are the wounds. In 1957, a man stumbled into a hospital in Zambia with a torn chest. When asked what attacked him, he didn't hesitate. A giant bird with no feathers and a mouth full of teeth. He was shown a collection of images. When he saw a drawing of a pterosaur, he screamed. There were more sightings. Fishermen pulled from boats, strange shadows circling at dusk, massive wing beats in the night air. Some spoke of people disappearing, only for their boats to be found days later, empty and shredded. And in the dry deserts of Namibia, thousands of miles away, similar reports emerged. A flying creature seen at sunset, gliding silently between the hills. A black silhouette shaped like a sailboat in the sky. Of course, Western scientists call it a hoax. They say it's a misidentified stork, a superstition, an exaggeration of fear. But what if it's not? What if something survived, not in fossil beds, but in flesh and bone, hiding in the swamps, caves, or uncharted jungle canyons where even drones dare not fly? What if the age of the dinosaurs never fully ended? Because in these lands, where time seems to stand still, it might still fly. The Rukki, darkest river on Earth. It looks like ink, it moves like silk, and no one really knows what's hiding beneath. This is the Rukki River, a winding, shadow-drenched artery flowing through the Congo Basin. Locals call it the black ghost of the rainforest. To scientists, it's simply one of the darkest natural waterways ever recorded. At first glance, it's not what you'd expect. It's slow, still, peaceful even. But look closer. This river doesn't shimmer like most. It absorbs light. It swallows it. The reason? Dissolved organic carbon, or DOC. In short, decomposed plant matter, pulled from centuries of jungle decay, saturates the water until it turns black. So black, it reflects nothing. But here's the catch. Plenty of rivers in the world have dark water. The Amazon has them. Southeast Asia has them. So, why is Rookie darker than all the rest? That question has haunted researchers for years. To find answers, a team of scientists installed underwater sensors and carbon dating equipment near the riverbanks. What they discovered was shocking. Beneath the surface, the Rookie holds one of the highest concentrations of ancient DOC ever recorded, carbon that has been stored, undisturbed, for thousands of years. The surrounding peat swamps, slowly leaking organic matter during rainy seasons, act like natural dye vats. The carbon-rich water seeps out like ink from forgotten tombs. But there's more. These ancient peatlands may also be some of the largest carbon storage sites on the planet, and if disturbed by logging, farming, or drought, they could release billions of tons of CO2 into the atmosphere, accelerating climate change at terrifying speed. And yet, for all the science, the Rookie still feels like something more. A place where time folds in on itself, where light vanishes without a trace, where explorers speak of strange silhouettes beneath the water, and animals that never surface. Some say the Rookie is a river out of time, one that has remembered too much, one that's keeping the past alive, just beneath its obsidian skin. Whatever the truth is, one thing's certain. No other river in the world hides its secrets quite like this. Peatlands of Doom, Congo's carbon time bomb. Hidden beneath the roots of the Congo rainforest lies something that could save the world, or doom it. Spanning more than 145,000 square kilometers, the Cuvette Centrale peatlands are a vast, swampy reservoir of decaying plant matter, quietly storing over 30 billion tons of carbon. That's more than the entire planet emits from fossil fuels in 3 years. And yet, most people have never heard of it. Peatlands form when plants die and don't fully decompose, usually in cool, waterlogged environments. But the Congo's tropical swamps have created something unprecedented. A low-oxygen, high-carbon vault that's been sealed off for thousands of years, until now. As climate change intensifies and human activity encroaches from logging, mining, and farming, these delicate ecosystems are starting to dry out. And when peat dries, it burns. Fast. If just 1/3 of these peatlands were to ignite or decompose, the carbon released could double the amount of CO2 in Earth's atmosphere. Temperatures would spike, sea levels would rise, crops would fail, and the damage would be irreversible. Think of it as a carbon time bomb, one that's ticking beneath our feet. The average depth of the peat here is about 2 meters, but in some parts it reaches much deeper. The carbon locked inside is ancient, going back over 10,000 years. Scientists call it one of the most vital buffers against global warming, but it only works if left untouched. And yet, roads are being built, waterways are being dredged, fires are being set to clear farmland. Every cut, every spark, every drain of water brings us closer to the tipping point. In a cruel irony, the very place that could help us fight climate change could become its biggest accelerant, if we're not careful. So the question becomes, will we protect it in time? Or will we wake one day to find the world's biggest carbon sink has turned into an unstoppable wildfire, ignited not by nature, but by our own neglect? Because once the peat starts burning, it doesn't stop. In the age of satellites and smartphones, it's easy to believe we've mapped it all, that the world is known, explained, tamed. But the Congo reminds us otherwise. Beneath its green canopy and along its shadowed rivers, ancient stories still unfold, unwritten by textbooks, untouched by modern hands. Here, rivers run deeper than science dares to measure. Creatures defy extinction. Cities vanish without a trace. and the forest whispers names no language can translate. It is a place where legends bleed into fact, and fact often bends under the weight of the unknown. But this is more than a tale of mystery. This is a warning, because the Congo holds not just secrets, but stakes. A river that rewrites evolution, a swamp that could ignite the skies, a carbon vault, fragile as a breath. What happens here doesn't stay here. In a warming world full of vanishing species and melting truths, the Congo may be one of our last frontiers, not just of nature, but of humility. A reminder that for all our progress, the planet still holds corners where mystery reigns, and where the line between myth and science is thinner than we'd like to admit. So before we conquer, before we consume, we must listen. Because in the heart of Africa, the forest still breathes, the rivers still remember, and the earth is still telling stories we're not ready to hear.